Hey guys, this is Derek from the Wrestling IQ 101 podcast. I just want to let you know about this great deal that we have with Collar and Elbow. Collar and Elbow is where urban streetwear meets wrestling. Act now and use our discount code WIQ101 to receive extra savings at checkout when you visit collarandelbowbrand.com today. Wrestling IQ 101 and Collar and Elbow. It's a match made in wrestling heaven.
Yeah. Look, Wrestling 101, classes in session. Pay attention to the teachings, that's from Andrew and Derek. I mean, these guys making a killing with no competition. Dynamic duo better than the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys. Everybody make some noise, mess with them, you get destroyed. They cannot be beat, take a seat. Watch them do their thing on the MIC. Face defeat, they cannot be seen like JC. Oh my goodness, it's a killing spree.
Wrestling IQ 101 is the best place to find your wrestling interviews. And you know this is the truth, because Ty doesn't lie truth.
Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of Wrestling IQ 101. I'm Andrew alongside Derek.
Yep.
And you can listen to Wrestling IQ 101 right here on YouTube by hitting the subscribe button, or listen to us on here on iTunes by typing in Wrestling IQ 101. You'll see our own banner, and make sure you hit that. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Wrestling IQ 101. And today we're sitting with the American Giant, man. How's it going?
Good, brother. How are you?
Man, we're doing well, man. We're doing well. We're excited you called up and talked to us about
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
One of the most, profound careers in wrestling I can think of. I mean, you're still doing this, right? Almost 30 years later.
Absolutely, man. I enjoy every minute of it.
Sure.
Yeah, man. Now, just going back, 30 years, what was the moment and, what made you just want to, become a wrestler and get into the business?
Well, the first thing that started off is that when I was a junior in high school, this basically started up back then. I tried out for the junior varsity basketball team, and I got cut on the third cut, and I was so devastated. And I took one of those big giant cans, garbage cans, shot it against the locker room like a WWF wrestler, or WWE rather, wrestler, and I was so devastated. And the next day when I went back to school, the wrestling coach comes up to me. He goes, "Buck, come here, I want to talk to you for a minute." He says, "I know you want to get involved in professional wrestling." And I said, "How did you know that?" He goes, "Word's out on you, brother." And make a long story short, he says, "I know one guy who works." Now, this is back then from the World Wrestling Federation. I went to college with. I said, "Who is that?" He goes, "Gorilla Monsoon. He's good friends of mine."
Wow.
And, he says, "When you go down to the TV show, you tell him I said hello." And I saw Gorilla about 2 days later after that. And he acknowledged that he did know my wrestling coach and came back to school. And the wrestling coach says, "Well, I told you that." And I turned around and said, "Okay, I'll wrestle for you." And shortly I graduated. Summer of '88.
Mm-hmm.
I got involved with wrestling further. And back then, Mike Rotundo, Erwin R. Scheister referred me to the destroyer Dick Beyer out of Buffalo. And Dick just retired at that point. He asked me if I knew a guy by the name of the Great Malenko. I said, "No, I don't. I never even heard of him." He says, "Well," he goes, "I will refer you to him. You got to get a phone from him 2 days later." 2 days later, I got a call from Malenko and got down there, busted my butt, and that's how it all began.
Perfect.
Sure. How tough was Boris Malenko on you?
Oh, Boris is really, really tough, man. I mean, he really, really works, especially in the calisthenic area,
Mm-hmm.
he was tough. There's no question about it. I mean, he was a straightforward guy. He trained his guys hard, and that's one thing I really loved and appreciated about him. And I don't know if you noticed, but I called him the dad of professional wrestling because he really cared about his guys as if he was his own kids. And especially being trained by Dean and Joe, his two sons, they're like family to me now. And, I was happy to be adopted by the Malenko family, so to speak, as part of their wrestling business.
Yeah, for sure. And could you tell us, like, what was the greatest piece of advice that you got from him?
The greatest piece of advice I personally got from him, I took this to heart. He says, be professional in every sense of the word. I don't care whether you're in training or you actually have a match. You be professional, and you'll get the tremendous respect. And I tried that, and he's right. He's absolutely right.
Sure. I was thinking about this too. I mean, being so large, being such a, an imposing figure, is traveling hard for you? Is stuff like that, like everyday things that we take for granted, hard for you?
Not necessarily, no. Sometimes it is. It depends what type of day it is and what goes on. Mm-hmm. But most part, no. Traveling, especially if I would go on an airplane, I would ask for double row seats with, an emergency aisle, so to speak.
Okay.
But yeah, that's true. Look at Andre the Giant when he traveled.
Sure.
It can be tough, but to me, not really. I'm totally used to it. I mean, I had to bend down coming into the plane. They're like, "Oh my God, we got a giant here." I said, "You got that right, brother."
Oh man.
Yeah.
Now,
but
yeah.
Other than that, no, it depends. Normally, I don't have any hard times with it.
Nice. Now, do you find that? Do you think it's harder to break into the business and to perfect your craft, being a bigger individual as compared to the smaller guys who can do the flips, show all this other different types of athleticism?
I would say not really, because it depends what talent you have. It may not necessarily harder or different or anything like that. It depends what you're capable of doing. And then Michael demonstrated that many times. And as an example, when I first tried to take a head toss, I can't take a head toss because of my size. Mm-hmm. That's tough for me. Head toss or Cornish height or whatever the case is. But there's a lot of things I can do that people are so absolutely amazed with.
Yeah.
But, it depends how you're trained is basically what it is.
Definitely.
Sure. After all these years, what keeps you going? Is it knowing that, are you working towards something? Are you looking to get to like All Elite Wrestling or WWE or something?
Well, my long-term goal is to go to a major company like WWE or mm-hmm. AEW, whatever the case is. That's my long-term goal. I feel that especially with the new talent coming in all the time, they should mix it up between the new talent and the old school, and that's what makes a great match, so to speak. But yes, I've thought about trying to go to WWE, and I still want to pursue it. But I've been turned down so many times from them. I'm not going to give up on it. Don't get me wrong, but mm-hmm. WWE is a tough company, and I'm more than willing to go if they ever call me in.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm pretty sure, they definitely should be looking for sure. You're such an imposing figure, and you definitely could, be an important part of something that they could potentially use for sure.
Well, absolutely, and. Nowadays, they don't even have big giants in there like they did with the Big Show or Andre the Giant, Big John Studd, or all those guys. I think they should bring the Giants back. And that's my personal opinion. Special attraction, special feature. Instead of doing the high-flying stuff all the time, people want to see the powerful stuff as well combined. And I think that's what puts butts in seats, so to speak, if you know what I'm saying.
Sure. I'm thinking about the roster in my head and people that you would match up well with. Who are people that are wrestling right now on WWE or All Elite or one of these other bigger companies that you would love to square off with?
Well, I would like to go square off with guys like Rusev, maybe Roman Reigns. As a matter of fact, I worked for Roman Reigns' father, Sika, in Florida before, and Roman Reigns is a great talent. I met him one time during the CWF Fan Fest in Tampa about a couple of years ago. Great young man, great talent, very pleasant to talk with. And, I would, if I had a match with him, hey, that'd be great. Rusev is another one. It depends. It depends who actually, I wouldn't mind any competition from them.
I'm going to give you my personal pick, if that's all right.
Sure.
I want to see you face Braun Strowman.
Braun Strowman, hey, that's fine with me.
Yeah, that would definitely be nice. Now, sticking on opponents, you've been in the ring with a lot of guys over 30 years. Is there anybody that from the old school that you wish you would have gotten in the ring with that you never got the chance to?
Yes, there's several of them actually. Number one will be the late Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect was a great, tremendous wrestler. I would have loved to wrestle with him. Even though if I made a loss to Mr. Perfect, it would be a great experience. He's one of them. Let's see, who else was there? Would I be? Tugboat is another one I would like to wrestle. I think him and I would have a great match. The Texas Tornado. He was a great athlete back in the day before he passed. But as you know, I did wrestle Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, the Outsiders, back in '96 when I tagged up with the late Pistol Pez Whatley. I also wrestled the Genius Lanny Poffo, Macho Man Randy Savage's brother. There's a lot of WWE old school I would love to wrestle, of course.
Nice, yeah. And the thing that's so prominent about that match you had with the Outsiders, it's like three of the biggest guys were there. You see yourself, you see Nash, and on the outside is the Big Show, the Giant at that time. And it's just so amazing that the three of you guys, as larger than life as all three of you guys were, all at the same place at the same time, and they were in the same match.
Right, exactly. And I've had a lot of people ask me before, if you would have been asked to wrestle Hollywood Hulk Hogan, would you do it? I say yes, I would. I say he's no different than anybody else. I mean, he's a great wrestler in his own right. I respect the man. And just as the late Jimmy Superfly Snuka used to say, and I agree with him, I have a lot of respect for each and every individual professional wrestler, and I still do today.
Yeah, for sure. I could definitely see that. During that match as well, I saw, it's pretty amazing to see, someone your size kind of get, manhandled or whatever, however you want to put it, obviously, putting over the Outsiders. You can see, Nash, he actually had the strength to be able to do things to you that normal people wouldn't. Do you kind of prefer matches like that where someone can match up with you in size and you guys can kind of throw each other around, or do you like the smaller opponents?
It depends, really. I enjoy more working with the bigger guys because we can have a much better match. If there are smaller guys, I wouldn't mind wrestling smaller guys, but the point about it is a lot of those smaller guys do not know how to wrestle a giant like my size, especially nowadays. And I would be, I've heard rumors in the past that a lot of smaller guys would not wrestle me because they think I don't know how to wrestle. It's not that. It's because they don't know how to wrestle a giant.
Yeah,
and that's very true. I've heard that so many times before here recently. They don't. I mean, I'm definitely old school, and these guys are new guys, new generation, and I respect them. They're great talent, But the only thing, one of the things in the business that they need to learn is, excuse me, you have to learn how to wrestle big guys like my size. You know, that's all I can say about that. I mean, one of these times they're gonna be locking up with me, as a, so to speak, or another 7-footer. It's going to happen. I mean, it's going to happen whether they like it or not.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you know, one thing I saw that was kind of funny in that match. For some reason, they had you build at like 6'9". I was like, "What? 6'9"?"
So I get the memo.
I had no idea where that came from, brother. All I know is, I was a legit 7 feet. You know, Kevin Nash and I are exact same height, except Kevin's built more muscle-wise than I am.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they say I was from Hamtramck, Michigan. In reality, I'm from Syracuse, New York. You know, born and raised, and all that stuff. And it's funny how WCW back then did the things, but I gotta admit, WCW was a great company to work for during that time. Mm-hmm. They were very respectful. They were very pleasant to work for. You know, they may have ribbed around a little bit, but as far as taking care of the guys and everything else, that's what they did. They took care of you.
Sure. You know, I couldn't help but notice my favorite wrestler, wrestling superstar Virgil, was there. Did you challenge him to a match?
No, I never did.
No? Would you want to?
Virgil? Well, yeah. I never thought about it, to be honest with you. Oh, I never thought about Virgil.
Yeah, that's Andrew's favorite wrestler. Yeah. That's why he's actually in this.
Oh, I respect Virgil. Virgil was great back in the day, back in his time, especially when he was working with Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. Now, Ted DiBiase is one of the guys who I would have loved to wrestle.
Oh, yeah, that would have been great.
That would definitely be
And the only thing I'd say about that is that DiBiase would say, "Okay, Big Buck's got a price for the $1 Million Man." But you know what? I got news for you. I don't have a price for the $1 Million Man. Hey. Everybody's price has been bought. And that's by our own Lord and Savior Jesus Christ himself, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, man. Definitely hear you on that.
It's that simple.
I mean, I would take a couple of those bucks. So.
And, I commend Ted, and I love Ted for this. He's an ordained minister now, and, I respect Ted for that. And he's one of the brothers, man.
Yeah, for sure.
No matter back in the day, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
So... I've seen that you do some public speaking for the kids. You help them out, right? Give them some advice to aspire to be, like you said, good individuals on their way into growing. How does that make you feel when you go out and you talk to some of these children?
I'm sorry, repeat that again?
How does it make you feel like when you go and you sit with some of these children, and knowing that they're listening to you?
It makes me feel great because of the fact that they pay attention to not only to have their eyes on me, but it's the message that I give them to inspire them, to encourage them to do the right things in life. A young man or a woman may not have the talent to be a professional wrestler, but it's anything that they're gifted with, they can always do it with their heart, give 100%, and be encouraged by it. And, people are going to try to tear you down. The thing about it is, stay focused on what you're doing, stay focused on your talent, and don't let anybody try to tell you that you're not good at something. That's not true at all. The kids are precious from God himself, and the kids can be an inspiration to other people. And the important thing is, we have to be role models and lead by example. And that's what I try to do every day. I strive for that all the time.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's a good way to live life for sure.
You got that right.
Yeah, I just think it's ironic today that we're talking to you, and today is someone else who kind of challenges you in size. Giant Gonzalez's birthday. You personally, who do you think are some of the top big men of all time?
I'm definitely going to say the Giant Gonzalez. You also, first and foremost, I'm going to say Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Then Big John Studd. The Giant Gonzalez matches up there. You get the big cat Ernie Ladd, and especially the Undertaker. Big guys, anybody who are big like that, they can be powerful men, and these guys were powerful men. And there's no doubt about it. There's a whole host of others, and I'm going to include Hulk Hogan in that too, because he may be 6'8", 6'9", but he's powerful in his own right, in his own way, But I gotta say that I'm very, very inspired by the big boys.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's not a bad thing, right?
No, it's not a bad thing at all. I mean, you learn different things from different big boys. They do things differently, but it can also work for you if you put it to practice, so to speak.
Absolutely. I was thinking about this too, that you really don't like backyard wrestling, and why is that?
I don't like backyard wrestling because they're not properly trained. And I don't care what anybody says about it. If you're a backyard wrestler, you're liable to hurt yourself or hurt others or even kill somebody if you don't know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be trained as a professional wrestler, get to a licensed school, do it right. It's that simple. I mean, people may mock me for that. I could care less whether they do or not. Mm-hmm. Do it right. If you don't, like I said, you're going to hurt somebody. And I also wouldn't want to see somebody go into a public high school or middle school, especially that one kid doing an RKO on a principal. He got expelled from that. And, you don't put your hands on nobody in public just because you think you're a professional wrestler. Backyarders, I won't even have a match with them. I won't touch it. I'll refuse the match. It's liability, and somebody's going to get hurt. And I'm not willing to put my self in danger to be hurt by somebody who's got backyard. I mean, it's just that simple.
Sure. I mean, we don't want to see you get hurt either, because we want to see this illustrious career continue, and we want to see you reach your goals.
Right. Exactly.
Definitely. Now, with besides that, what are your thoughts on where professional wrestling is today, and the product just overall in general?
Well, I think that the independent scene is doing very well. They got the new NWA, is that right? Coming out of Georgia, I think it is.
NWA Power.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think they're doing very well. There's a lot of things of WWE that I do not agree with. One thing is for sure is to bring sexual content or sexual storylines into the company. Kids don't need to see that.
Yeah, for sure.
That's my opinion. They don't need to see it. It's not like back in the day, like, Demolition, the Nasty Boys, or Billy Jack Haynes, whoever. Make it a sports entertainment, not no sports sexual stuff. And I'm gonna call it the way it is. I mean, I respect Vince McMahon and his company, but some of the things that they do, kids don't need to see that. I mean, I think they turn it to the wrong direction, But AEW, well, I don't know that too much about them, but I'm sure that from what I understand, they're doing very well as far as wrestling product wise, and it depends how you see it.
Sure. I think some fans will agree with that for sure. Absolutely, that assessment. You traveled to other countries and wrestled, I think, Canada and Japan, right?
Yes, I did.
How was it wrestling in front of those crowds, and were they different from wrestling out here in the States?
Yes, it was. The Japanese people, they love they love the Giants, and I was granted, I was welcomed by the people in Japan. I was like I said, I was very noticeable. That's for sure. And same thing in Canada and everywhere else. It depends on what they like, what they're looking for. And they're no different than people in the United States, except you speak different languages sometimes.
Mm.
And to me, I have to have an interpreter just to transfer my messages to them.
Oh yeah, definitely. I could only imagine. You know, you put the word, you know, American into your name, the American Giant. Can you just say like what does that mean to you? Just, you know, being an American and representing that flag.
Well, this is where I'm going to go with. I've had people ask me before, why did they call me the American Giant?
Mm-hmm.
Number one, I'm 7'3". Number two, I'm an American. And number three, I'm a giant in heart. Not in size, but in heart. I have a heart and love and respect for the United States of America, carrying that flag down the aisle. And whether I go into battle, in the ring, whether I win the match or lose the match, it doesn't make any difference to me. As long as I go out there with a positive attitude, I'm coming out of the ring with a positive attitude. That's what makes me feel like a winner. Now, as far as anything else is concerned, there's only one, like I said before, there's only one true giant in professional wrestling. That's Andre the Giant. I call me the Giant because I have a giant heart to go out there to do what needs to be done. I have good days with it. I have bad days with it. I have tough days with it, just like anybody else. But the important thing is, I represent the United States of America the way Sergeant Slaughter and Hacksaw Jim Duggan taught me back in the day. And that's what you got to stand for. You got to stand for morals. You got to stand for truth and justice. And that goes especially in professional wrestling.
Sure. You know, when you're not wrestling, what are some of the things that the fans might not know about you? What kind of music, what kind of shows do you like? Do you like the movies?
Music-wise, I'm a born-again Christian. I listen to gospel music. I go out and, I go to the movie theater, so to speak. I like to watch, athletic film movies and stuff like that. I like going to different activity center and just hang around the kids and just play with them and just have a bunch of laughs with them and just give a message, so to speak.
Oh, yeah.
And that's basically what I do, really. I mean, other than that, I enjoy doing that, and it makes me feel like they're family to me. And the fans are like family to me, especially a lot of the wrestlers are family to me, who I never thought I would be friends with. And I'll give you an example. I would never thought I was going to be friends with WWE Hall of Famer, former ladies champion Leilani Kai. She's a sweetheart. Mm-hmm. We became great friends. Lanny Poffo, the Genius, the Nasty Boys. I would have never thought I would become good friends with them. And, well, not good friends, but friends with them. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of guys who I'm friends with now. And, to me, that makes me feel good.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah,
that's the one good thing about wrestling. It brings everybody together, for sure.
Well, that's true. And people think I'm delusional and all this and that. No, I'm not. And just like Elvis Presley would say, walk a mile in my shoes, and you know what I'm talking about.
Definitely, I can hear you on that.
Those are some pretty big shoes. I mean, you're a giant.
Yeah.
Hey, brother, that's size 22s, brother.
Hey, that's awesome.
Man. Now, just being so tall, being 7'3", like I'm pretty sure there has to be some difficulties of like normal everyday life. Like, what are some of the most difficult things for you to do, just like on a regular basis?
Regular basis. Well, first of all, when I walk into a building, sometimes I got to duck. That's one of them.
Yeah, for sure.
Driving my own vehicle, because I drive a 2013 Ford Focus. I had the seat all the way back. Oh, the recliner all the way back. I got to trade that in for something better here in the near future. Playing basketball is kind of tough for me right now a little bit because I have arthritis in my knees and I'm not able to run as good as I used to.
Would you have a favorite basketball team when you were growing up?
Not really. I just like to see a good game, and between whether it's college level or pros, a good game, a good solid game, you know. And I never had a favorite basketball team.
Man, now you said you talked about the arthritis. In 2018 you had a back injury as well. Do you find is it harder for being bigger for to heal injuries and to get back into the ring?
Sometimes it is, yes. To be honest with you, speaking of back injuries, I did have back surgery down on my L3 and L4 last year, and that's how I. Shortly before that, I was on Facebook and I met my sweet valet manager. Her name is Luscious Lisa. She came down and spent 6 months with me, trying to helping me with my back. And she helped me, get things back on track. She stayed with me, and I'm very, very appreciative for her for that. And shortly after that, I was going to relocate out of Florida, coming back into Tennessee, Kentucky area, like working on my normal job. Mm-hmm. And I found out that my house caught on fire. Oh, and I found out it was an accidental faulty wire inside the wall. Some critter got in there. They think it was a rat chewing the wire that exploded the house up. And Luscious Lisa offered me to stay in Kentucky. She has 2 boys of her own. Actually, one biological son and one adopted son. Oh, wow. And they're both professional wrestlers today. Great talent. I watched them in person. Great talent. And today I reside in Kentucky, and she has stepped out to have me get more bookings in the state of Kentucky specifically, because she knows a lot of promoters here, and I give her a lot of credit and recognition for that. She stood by me for a long time, and she continues to do so today. And I'm very thankful for her. And she's my valet. She'll lead me to the ring. She's ready to do things again. She's ready to come back as well, very, very soon.
Yeah, who are some of the talents you're looking to get in the ring with while you're in Kentucky?
On the independent wise or the professional wise?
Yeah, on the independent wise.
Well, I already had a match with Stan Sierra from AMW. I tell you one thing, he's a strong guy, man. And we had a great match. There's a lot of them, I guess. I don't know their names, to be honest with you, but, Stan Sierra is one of them. It depends.
But the door's open to anybody who wants to challenge you, right?
And the door is always open.
Yeah, for sure. Now, something I'm interested about. Back in the days, especially when you were, working with WCW, what was the process like of getting bookings back then, and the process compared to now? Is it easier now, or was it harder then? How was it?
Well, back then I was getting booked all the time. Yeah. Because when I first started out, I started out with the National Wrestling Alliance out of Tampa Bay area, on the independent level. And then I went from there to Southern Florida Wrestling Federation, something like that. And I also went to WF, based out of Florida. And there's a lot of top names that I wrestled back then. I wrestled guys from WCW at that time. One of the guys who I had a great match with was the Cuban Assassin. Sure. Great wrestler. I respect him as a professional athlete. His tactics, well, I had to put a stop to a lot of things on that one, but that's a different story. Ricky Santana. Who else was there? You have Nasty Ned Brady from WCW. Sometimes, I remember one match I had a great one with C.B. Offee, the cousin of Superfly Jimmy Snuka. Yeah. Man, I tell you one thing, he could fly up in the air, boy. Oh, man. But I had some great matches back then. I was getting booked all the time. Nowadays, today, It's a little bit tougher because a little bit older, I guess, is what I hear. But as long as I stay in great shape, as long as I do what normally needs to be done, keep my body in good physical condition, I'm going to keep pursuing it. I don't see any reason why these independent levels today, or the WWE or the NWA, cannot book a giant. I mean, there's no reason why they can't. That's what draws the people in.
Sure, absolutely, and it would be an attraction to see you on one of those programs for sure. And
I'm not trying to sound like I'm a superstar or anything. I'm not. There's no superstars in professional wrestling on that part of it. But a lot of these companies today, they need to bring in 7-footers, and they need to do special attractions. That's the way it is. I mean, that's how I think about it. And the more attractions you bring in, the more people you're going to bring in, and the more butts you're going to put in seats.
Sure.
That's true.
Let me ask you this. I mean, if you were to go to one of these companies and they want to change your character, would you let them? Because you're well known being a big carrier of the United States flag.
I would go along with it as long as it's clean, as long as it's decent, and preferably I'd rather stay as the American Giant, but it depends what it is. I'm not into anything evil or sexual dress ups or anything like that. I'm basically overall a professional athlete that Boris Malenko trained me to be. And I know, my preference is to stay professional. I'm willing to work for any company as long as it's clean and honorable, if that makes any sense.
Sure. Yeah, no, definitely.
You might have to beat some decency into some of these people, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of these people think that, I hear the word sex sells all the time. Mm-hmm. Like I said before, man, they got to eliminate that because that's, you're going to lose fans.
Yeah.
And, they don't need to do anything inappropriate as, on TV or anything like that. That's how you lose the ratings.
Yeah. If there was like, let's say one thing about wrestling you could change today, would that be it? Or, what would you change about wrestling? Or do you think it's fine the way it is today?
Some things are fine the way it is. There's a lot of things that are not. It depends. I will get rid of the cussing, for one. Get rid of the inappropriate dress, the way the wrestlers dress today. Go back to where it used to be, like Bob Backlund, Superstar Billy Graham, the Magnificent Morocco. Have the guys wrestle with the guys and ladies wrestle with the ladies as a professional matches. Not no drama, not no what do you call it? Soap opera. That's the word I'm looking for. It's supposed to be a sport, not no soap opera or anything like that. That's just my opinion.
Sure, and I think a lot of people would say that too. But we can't be remiss if we didn't talk about some of the people you wrestled over the years. Bill Crude, Tombstone Jesus, Nick Foley, and like you alluded to before, the Cuban Assassin. I mean, so many great matches in your past. I mean, a lot of legends you said that you alluded to earlier in the program. Do you have a favorite matchup of all time that you've been in? And what can people expect for you in the future?
Well, my favorite matchup, there's two favorite matches that I had of all time. That comes off the top of my head. Number one was with Bill Crude. Bill Crude was trained by the Von Erich family. He was trained by Jerry Gray out of Tennessee area. Bill Crude used to be my manager with my former partner, the Renegade. We were known as the Crude Alliance back in the day. And we were a powerful team. Bill brought us the tag team titles. And, he taught us to use our size properly. And then Bill turned on me, and Bill and I started having matches. We had one match where loser wears a dress, where Bill Crude lost to me. He wore the dress. We both got our haircuts shaved at the same time because it was a draw match, and the commissioner says, okay, we don't have a winner. Both of them get their heads shaved.
Oh,
And basically, that's Bill Cruz is one of the wrestlers who I have memorable matches with. The other one, the Cuban Assassin. The Cuban Assassin tries to wear me down, and I got to give him credit. He's a tremendous wrestler. He came out of Puerto Rico. He came out of Havana, Cuba. He's a great wrestler, and United States versus Cuba, we had many times before, and I've learned a lot of things from the Cuban, how to stay aggressive and everything else. But the only thing I do not do is cheat. And like I said, Cuban Assassin and I had great matches, and I do have respect for him and his manager, Fantasy. Those are my two favorite matches that I can think of off bat. And plus, the referee at that time who refereed between me and the Cuban was WWE Hall of Famer Bill Alfonso.
Oh, man.
And Bill called it right down the middle. And I respect Bill Alfonso's calling, and he didn't back down from nobody, not me nor the Cuban.
Yeah.
Bill doesn't play around inside the ring.
Well, I mean, I know Derek will agree. I think it's pretty cool that you're still waving Old Glory out to the ring and helping out the children and giving inspiration everywhere you go, man. And, where could people get you on social media if they want to connect with you?
They can message. They can send me a message on Facebook through Messenger. It's under Buck Bresner. You'll see a picture on me, the American Giant. That's how you can mainly contact me throughout the day. I work at my normal job during the day, and that's the best way to do it all the time, actually.
Sure, man. Well, it was nice talking with you, man. We're glad to see that you're still kicking butt and waving the flag, and we really appreciate you taking the time and talking with us, right, Derek?
Definitely, for sure. We definitely appreciate it.
You can listen to Wrestling IQ 101 right here on YouTube by hitting the subscribe button. You can find us on iTunes by typing in Wrestling IQ 101. You'll see our own banner. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Wrestling IQ 101. And we guys will see you soon.
We're out.